Yeah, I'm having one of my thoughts about something that I'm communicating. Some people call it prayer. I call it communication with the divine spirits and the source. But I just wanted to get this here. Some people have this notion that, and I think it's just because they've heard others say it and they're repeating this. And I don't think a lot of people, even people that are supposed to be awake and have a certain amount of higher knowledge, that they have an understanding of this, what I'm about to say. And it's about um, this saying that you only attract to you what you are, or this misgiving, or this misunderstanding that because some low vibrational beings may come around you, that there's some indication that, oh, you must have had a low thought, or you must not be vibing high enough to keep beings like this away from you, that this is some reflection of something in you. And I'm not totally a fan of that thought, and I'm not in total agreement with that, but I do have my thoughts on that, and this has come to me several times over time, that the other way that this could be looked at, and I find it to make a lot of sense, just like high vibrational people receive their energy from the source of all life, because they emanate from that source, that omnipotent, omniscient source, and that gives them their energy. And without that source of energy, that highest source of energy, you wouldn't be in existence. You wouldn't be able to be a created force or source yourself, because you wouldn't have that deity energy, or that so-called God energy, that higher energy that assists you in being the higher being that you are. Well, it's the same thing with these low vibrational beings. First and foremost, we need to realize that the reason they're low vibrational is because they're not in tune with the source. They're not getting source energy. They're not getting so-called God energy, because they're cut off from the source. They're cut off from the source because the source don't deal with them. Because when you deal in low vibrational behaviors, you're practicing toxicity, you're practicing low vibrational behaviors, the source cuts you off. The source doesn't have anything to do with toxicity and impurities. People lose their souls over practicing those type of things. So if the soul will leave you, and the soul goes back to the Most High when it leaves a person as well, because that belongs to the source. Nobody can steal your soul. Okay, when they say sell your soul, that just means like selling your soul out like you would sell your brother or your sister out. You sold them out. You betrayed them. When people sell their soul, that means that they have betrayed their soul. They betrayed their God energy. And so that energy leaves them, because the soul cannot exist with a toxic being. The soul cannot exist in a toxic vessel, because it's a pure source of energy, and it can't exist there. Like they say, you can't serve God and the devil. Well, that's basically what that means. You can't have a soul and be practicing low vibrational behaviors, raping, robbing, um enslaving people, and things of such nature. Since that's unnatural and the soul is natural, the soul has to depart from you. It has to leave you when you practice those type of things. That's how people become soulless, betraying their soul. And so when a person doesn't have a soul and they're practicing low vibrational behaviors, they don't have any God energy or deity energy. They're cut off from the source. So what do? They seek out the closest thing to the omnipotent one, the so-called uh, capital God, or the source or the most high. They seek out the closest thing to the source that they can get to. That's where you get the term um, energy vampires from. Since they're not getting any source energy, they have to get it from uh, the closest thing to so-called God that they can get to. So if they can't get any from the source, what do you think they're going to do? If you're a high vibrational being and you're around and they're seeking energy so that they can keep going, they're not getting any source energy. So where are they going to go to? Right, like a moth to a flame, they're going to come to you. They're going to hover around you. They're going to seek you out because they're looking for the closest thing to God that they can get to. And then they proceed to try to siphon your energy through their vampiric behaviors and practices. So just because these beings might hover around a high vibrational being doesn't mean, oh, you must have had a bad thought, or you must be your frequency must have failed or something. No, that is not necessarily the case. Like I just said, just like we need the omnipotent source of all to receive our energy from. Well, if they're cut off from the source, they need some type of uh, source of energy. They need a energy source. So, what are they going to do? Once again, look for the closest thing to God to get that energy from. And if you're vibing on a higher frequency than them, then you are the source to them. So we need to come out of these misunderstandings about energy and how it works, because that's an even deeper understanding of what's going on here when these things happen. Yes, you can draw. It could be the other way around, like people, have a tendency to say, well, you must have been coming from someplace that's not the highest place in yourself. It can be like that too, but uh, that's not the only reason that can happen either. That is a reason, but not the only one. And it doesn't have to be the reason. So I just wanted to make this clear and give a higher perspective on that, so that you don't have to accept it, but just you can think it through. You can think it through and see if it has any higher reasoning to it, because to me that really resonates, and I see that personally around myself. I see that being played out by people, you know, in my own personal situation, and as being a TI and being targeted by a lot of low vibrational beings, and being that I am who I am, I see this being played out. And so I feel that I have a, a clear grasp on that concept, to where I see that as being played out in my own existence. So I just wanted to share this, and I wanted to put this on here, you know, because despite what's going on and these attacks on me by these low vibrational beings, I still have to do what I'm here to do, you know. And though I'm dealing with them doing, just being desperate, they're trying to get rid of the evidences of the things that they've been doing to me. You know what I'm saying? By going in my devices, hacking into stuff, wiping out my cards, taking it to the next level, because that's what they do. That's what these beings do. Because see, they want this to stay this way. They want this existence to stay at this low frequency so that they can survive in it. Because if the frequencies was raised here, they can't survive in it. And that goes hand in hand with what I'm saying about needing a source of energy in order to survive. And looking for the closest thing to God that they can get to, you know. And they can't do that if the energy's raised up either in the entire earth. If the whole entire earth realm raises up in that energy and the people are already raising up in frequency, raise up high in frequency, what are these low vibrators going to do? And I think a lot of them know this, or they're getting it. How am I going to live when they going to understand the concept, or some of them already understand the concept that because of what they are and what they do, they can't live in a high frequency existence because the things that they do are on a lower frequency. You see, so at some level of understanding, whether it be an, an internal understanding somewhere in their internal self, they're feeling it, or they have a conscious. It's either in the subconscious that they're getting something going on here, or it's in their conscious awareness of what's going on here. And either way it goes in their spirit, it's evoking and invoking fear in them, where it's caused mass insanity amongst them. So that's why you see them acting out and get more rowdy and get more risky with their behaviors. Because I guess at this point they feel like they don't have anything left to lose if their lives are on the line. So yeah. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And I didn't say it in my last videos, but you know, love. And this is only for those who can feel this and on that frequency. It's not really meant for anybody else. If they're not at that frequency, it's not for them. It's for whoever can really feel this and and meld together with this, that they can come together with what I'm saying and vibe with it. That's who I'm talking to. Love, peace, wisdom, inner under overstanding, the light of higher awareness, dark matter energy, self love, and ascension. Ashe.